So I don't know if you've noticed it, Shane, but it seems like, and again, I'd love the outsider's perspective of this. It's like the fans of the NFC North feel like so unhinged right now. Like they can't handle it. Like when the whipping boy suddenly becomes good. You know what it reminds me of? I'm sure a lot of you are too young to know a movie called Can't Buy Me Love. It was Patrick Dempsey's like breakthrough movie where he's this nerd who pays Cindy Mancini $1,000 to go out with him for a month because it'll make him popular, and then whatever happens. There's a scene where Ronald McDonald Miller starts hanging out with all the cool kids and the cheerleaders and everything like that, and everybody's sort of like, why is he here? And they don't accept him, and they try to push him out, and that's exactly what it feels like with a lot of these teams in the NFC North. Although I don't know why the Vikings are involved. Like, when have you been good? Like, whatever. Like the Vikings, I don't think the Vikings have established themselves well enough over the last decade or two to be like, hey, you're not part of the big kids club. The Lions are new money. You had the number 1 seed last year. That is true. But so it's not like the Packers are the established one. And you can kind of be like, and you know what's funny is like they're the least annoying because it's like, it is the Packers. We still got to finally like stomp them to finally put them to bed. But at the same time, it's funny watching these three fan bases fall all over themselves to be like, well, who have you played? I don't know. The same teams as you. What are you talking about? Like, we play the same teams. We're playing the AFC North. What are you asking about? This is every single one of us are playing the Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bengals. So you want to talk S on us for playing these teams? What about you? And do we get to play the Panthers? Like, what is the deal? Doesn't make any sense to me. Well, what makes sense, Shane, is starting this show. Let's go.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Ray.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? It is time for Take It to the Rank, a great night of sports talk here, because not only does Take It to the Rank happen right now, in about 90 minutes, the Tape Never Lies Network will be there with our friends Phil and Shane, locking it down. I was with them on Monday night on CHGO. If you get an opportunity to go back and watch that show, or you should just put it as part of your viewing pleasure on Monday nights, because you don't want to watch the Monday night game anyway. So, like, why not just sit there and watch us go out there and chop it up, talking about the Chicago Bears and whatnot. And of course, we have other things. AEW Dynamite will be coming up in less than an hour. And the challenge is still going on. And I have no idea why I still watch such a, none of my favorites. Nani's still there, but all my favorites are gone. And I still watch because I think it's out of habit. But anyways, time now to welcome in our co-host for the evening. I've left him off screen long enough. You know him from CHGO. One of the great voices in Bears social media presence. It's Greg Braggs, who is going to be joining us here as long as he's okay. Greg, how are you living?
I'm living good. I mean, we're at a point now because of the circumstances of the season that nothing, no offense to this fine program, but there's literally nothing that matters from the end of the last game to the next game. Like, all I care about is kickoff on Sunday. I'm excited. I'm stressed, but like all of this during the week is just like a blur. I just wanted, if I could just skip ahead and skip all the days, and they say make every day count. Forget that. Yeah. Forget all of these days. No, and just get me to Sunday because I want to see kickoff. Because I just want to know the answer. Are the Bears going to be 8-3?
Make every day count. Make it count. Listen, with Maddie and everything, you want to make it count.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff going on. Come on. We can wait. We can sit here and we can talk about it. It's exciting though. It is exciting because I know how you feel, and I know that I get this way too, but like when the team started off 0-2, and it might have, I think that we talked about it on one of the shows that we do together, where it's like, why do we do this? why am I still doing a show talking about a team that it feels like it's never going to get better? And now we're to the point of like, we can't wait. Let's fast forward through our lives to get to Sunday. It's been an amazing turnaround in a short matter of weeks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, we've seen some other, podcasters or content creators kind of tap out when the going's gotten tough. I know, the Carolina Panthers fan base, they had a podcast say they were done. And then all of a sudden the Panthers team went on a run and now they're saying they can't come back, which is kind of funny. Even the players were like, no, for good luck, you got to stay away now. So I get it. And you're right. I mean, we've been Bears fans our whole lives. I mean, you've been doing, the work you've done with the NFL and covering the Bears for a long, long time. And for me, having done this with CHGO the last 4 years, the Bears are one of the worst teams in the NFL every year. So now to have this opportunity right now to finally, I'm living my dream covering this team. But now when people used to say like the last couple of years, man, you live the dream. Well, part of my dream was that I'd cover a fun team. I don't, as much as it seems like I enjoy the hellfire and brimstone rants, like it brings me no joy. It actually stresses me out pretty bad because I love the Chicago Bears so much and just want them to win. So like actually right now is when I'm living the dream is, covering this team. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity, but now it's a good team, a fun team. Like the Bears social media, they keep putting out these awesome clips of how fun this team is. And it just brings me back to how much fun we had in 2018. And now it's just like trying to be present and live in the moment as I want to skip 6 days of the week.
No, I understand what you say too, but it also, it's funny too, because just living this life and all, honestly, it was growing up with my father and both my parents who are Chicago Bears fans, but it's like, my dad would like, it was never like stuff was not being broken in the house. It's not like we were never in mortal danger, but there was a sadness when the Bears lost. Like, it was just like, there's not enough. The energy goes out of the building a little bit. It's not a break a window type of thing. It's just like, whatever. It's just like a malaise. And you get real morose. And so like living that and this like, but still knowing. And then I remember like even some of the bad, like some of the good years, like the 80s and the 90s and even in the bad years of my dad always looking forward to going to this place. We drive down to Irvine. And if you knew where I grew up and driving to Irvine, it's kind of a trek. Like it's not real close, but it was the closest. Bears bars weren't like they were now. It wasn't like you could throw a rock and find a Bears bar, but it was like this thing. And so now being able to go out there, and this is why I don't apologize for having to enjoy these victories. It's like I've lived through some S. And again, not like I was never in danger. There was never anything going to be, but like, it was a bummer. Like it was just sad. It was a sad moment when the Bears would lose games. When the Bears lost to the Cowboys in 91. It was a sad moment. Like my dad was just like driving home from like it's like a 45-minute drive. And it was a game that was on TV. We could have just stayed home and watched it, but we wanted to go to the bar because it was a tradition and all this stuff. So now that the Bears are good, like I'm just not going to apologize for it and be like, well, if they could do this, I need to see, like, you don't need to see more. You don't need to see S. Okay. You sit there and you watch it and you enjoy it. You don't need it. You're not the general manager. I need to see it. You don't need S. Sit there and enjoy it. I'm sorry, Greg. Enough back here.
No, I love it. It's true. I mean, like, you just got to embrace it. It's fun right now. And this is where we're at. And when you were talking earlier about other fan bases, critiquing what our schedule has looked like this year and just keeping it into the division. Like, obviously Minnesota can't talk. They got their own problems to worry about. They're ripping each other apart at the seams right now over trying to figure out if their quarterback's good or not. We've been there. So have fun with that. It's not fun, but see where that goes for Minnesota. But Green Bay, talking about our schedule, you guys have no room to talk. You lost to the Browns and the Panthers. You barely beat the Cardinals. You barely beat the Giants, just as we did.
Tied the Cowboys.
Couldn't beat the Cowboys. We smacked the Cowboys. So, like, that's a wash, Green Bay. Worry about your own schedule. Quit worrying about what the Bears are doing as you look up in the standings right now. And then Detroit. We all understand they're the best team in the division, but as of right now, they're looking up at the Packers and Bears somehow, and they want to talk about the schedule. You lost to the Minnesota Vikings at home. Like the Bears just barely beat Minnesota. Yes, at Minnesota, but you could not beat Minnesota in your own house. So quit worrying about our schedule. Yes, the Bears need to beat a team with a winning record for all you guys to get it off your chest and say, okay, this team, finally beat one, so be it. But don't talk to me when you can't beat teams with a losing record. Yeah. Okay? It all works the same. And so when people say, oh, the Bears have no chance because they can only beat teams with a losing record, well, teams with a losing record have beat teams with a winning record this year. It's happened in our division multiple times.
Yeah. It's wild to me. Like we both have played the AFC North and the NFC East. Like those are 8 games that are the exact same. And then you have the divisional games. So it's 1 or 2 games that really flips the balance to whether, nobody in this division has any right to speak about it. And our divisional games are tougher than a lot of other teams' divisional games because our division has all good teams. I will say that Minnesota, I know it's because we just beat them. I think Minnesota's good. I think their quarterback's fine. So it's the schedule is what the schedule is, and there's nothing we can do about that. And speaking of the schedule this week, we have got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and one of the topics of conversation has been about Aaron Rodgers. But before we get there, I want to let everybody know that Crown Champs has just dropped the hottest thing that fantasy football has ever seen. We're talking about real customizable championship crowns, robes, scepters, all sorts of great merch, and it's just $2.99 per month per person to go out there and get a quality handcrafted crown to not only win your fantasy league, but you can go out there and rule it. If you go to crownchampscompany.com, that's crownchampscompany.com, you can sign up to not only win your fantasy league, but to go out and rule it. And I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Huel. Huel has the best meal replacement shakes known to man. I have been living off these. Wednesday, long day for me. I did the NFL Fantasy Live, just did the after hour with Jim Rome. Not only are we doing Take It to the Rank right now, also going to be going and teaching my college course at Chapman University, and I will pound one of these shakes on my way to that class. 400 calories, 35 grams of protein. Go to Huel.com/sickbears, Huel.com/sickbears and get 15% off your first order. And going back to what I was talking about, the Pittsburgh Steelers are here. It's Aaron Rodgers, presumed as the starting quarterback. We'll find out for sure this week whether he'll be able to play with that injured wrist. One of the topics, the conversation on Monday was, do we want to face Aaron Rodgers or not? We gave our answers, but Ben Johnson spoke on this today.
I got a lot of respect for Aaron Rodgers. He's done this at a high level for an incredible amount of time, and if he's ready to go this week, would love nothing more to compete against him.
Not everybody that you see before you agrees with that sentiment. There was one person in a green Rorschach or Roback sweatshirt who disagrees with the head coach. Explain yourself, Greg. Oh, you're afraid of Aaron Rodgers.
This
apparently
isn't a Dan Roshar limited edition hoodie here. Shout out to the O-line coach who's doing a great job. But no, I thank you, Ben Johnson, for not giving any bulletin board material of any kind. He gassed up Rodgers later. I don't know if you have that clip, but yeah, hey, if he's going to play, we'd love to play him. He's a great player in this league. Company line, keep it straight. Don't upset the Dragon, who's beaten the Bears 25 out of the 30 times he's played them. And, I get it. Hey, I'm a meatball just like the rest of you, but I have found it kind of funny all week, seeing fans on social media attack anyone that dares suggest they'd rather not play Aaron Rodgers this week. I don't know how you could blame anyone for saying that. And then I keep seeing, like you just said a minute ago, these fans that say, well, I want to see them tested. They have to prove to me more. No, I just want to see them win on Sunday, okay? And, these 5 wins at the end of the game where they're down with 2 minutes to go, they could have went the other way, and each one of those games would have ruined my life. And instead they won, and now they're 7-3, and I'm living the dream. And I'll tell you the one thing I do not want to happen while I'm living this dream is Aaron Rodgers getting in the middle of it and trying to ruin it. So if he needs to sit this week, I have zero issue with that. And then the other aspect of this whole thing, it's just so funny. Like, the Bears need to end Rodgers' career just like they did Favre's, and we're going to beat Rodgers, and we're going to get him. And I want Rodgers. This is our last time. You know how many sacks the Bears had last week? They
13?
had 0.
Damn.
They had 0 sacks on the – so, like, everyone keeps saying, like, how are you going to end his career when you can't get to the quarterback? All due respect, I'm rooting for the Bears D-line to pick it up, but I don't know how anyone throughout this season can have any confidence that they're going to be able to get to Aaron Rodgers when in his whole career, he's always been the fastest to get it out of his hands. We can't get to the quarterback when he's standing back there making a sandwich like J.J. McCarthy last week as he's kicking his legs up in the air trying to figure out how to throw a football. Rodgers knows what he's doing, and now we want our defensive line to be the real test is here this week. Like, come on, I get it. If you told me the Bears are going to win no matter what on Sunday, I'd love to stick it to Aaron Rodgers. If he doesn't play on Sunday, I'm not going to complain. The guy has been a thorn in our side our entire lives. So I don't need the fake bravado. I just need a win here on Sunday.
I want to go to Evie's comment from 420. It would be 720, but 420 on the West Coast, baby. This doesn't matter who's at QB. We beating their ass. I love it.
Well, I'll say this much. They have gotten a fortune, good fortune, however you want to frame it. Maybe that's not the right phrasing with someone breaking a bone in the wrist. I don't wish that upon anybody. But the timing has been good for the Bears. Whether you're playing a backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph or you're playing Aaron Rodgers, who has a broken wrist and has to deal with that, that's better than having to face Aaron Rodgers at 100%. So I think either way, the Bears have kind of been dealt a pretty good card here, and now they got to take advantage.
It reminds me of a story because my former assistant coach, this isn't why I got rid of him, but this is like one of the things a couple of years ago, they put out the playoff bracket, and my assistant coach, this is for we were U10 at this point, U10 girls. And my assistant coach, they messed up the bracket. We should get this big. I'm like, first of all, Coach, I don't give a great GD bleep who we're facing because whoever is out there on the pitch against us is going to lose. And that's always the mentality that I take. And so I similarly, because like when you start messing around with things, it's when it starts to break up. So fast forward to this Sunday, the coach who's now the head coach of another program, he complained about a playoff bracket and like this, we shouldn't do it. So he got the bracket that he wanted and his team lost. They lost. And it was, my team didn't win either, but I was so happy that his team lost because of his mentality, which is why I will not complain if Rodgers does not play. But at the same time, verbally, I'm going to continue to be like, I want to play who you play. I know that we did not do well.
This is a karma thing. So this isn't about the fact that you actually can't acknowledge that they have a better chance against a backup quarterback versus Rodgers, but you don't want to say that because it's bad karma.
I mean, like anything. Like, yeah, I think like, a lot of things have to go your way to win football games. I don't want to test karma by being like, I hope this guy doesn't play. And it also sets you up too. And I also, at the same time, like I feel like there's a mentality to it too, because I think that team lost in that soccer match because they thought they were getting an easier opponent as opposed to getting us, that they were like, oh, so they avoided my team and thought they were going to cakewalk to the finals but then they got what they wanted and ended up losing. That part to me, getting Mason Rudolph and losing is worse than losing to Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers,
no way. Yeah, Rodgers beating the Bears. I don't even like saying these things out of my mouth, but that is way worse because he's gonna rub it in our face. He's not gonna. Gracefully walk off the field.
He doesn't want that life anymore. Shane, play the thing. Rodgers has passed it. The beat is over.
You. Okay, play the clip. He's baiting you. You're being baited. By the
there's
devil.
incentive for every opponent, but I have enjoyed many a Sunday and Monday and many Thursdays in that city. It's a great sports town, phenomenal sports fans, and great place to play.
Aaron, do you sort of thrive off of being the villain there a little bit? You sort of enjoy that aspect?
I'd rather not be. I mean, I'm not in Green Bay anymore. I feel like we can let bygones be bygones. Maybe I can, I guess. It's a great rivalry. I mean, in the history of all sports, you talk about the Lakers and the Celtics and the Red Sox and the Yankees. You got to talk about the Packers and the Bears. And there's been some great memories there. When I first got to Green Bay, the Bears had the all-time series lead. When I left, the Packers did. And since J. Love has taken over, it's even gotten better. But I hope those fans can put that behind them. I'm sure they can't. Don't expect them to, but I really enjoy the city. They got great sports fans. I grew up watching WGN on my five-channel TV back in the day, so I was a Cubs fan and a Bulls fan. And how can I be a Bulls fan unless you don't like Michael Jordan? I did. I loved him. So it was a lot of fun memories over the years playing there.
Yeah,
Do not fall for this.
He's a Cubs fan.
Do you hear him? He is trying to bait us. I will not fall for it, Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what you say nice about our city. I don't want to even acknowledge you. Get out there, do it. Play, don't play. Don't talk about us. I'm not talking about you. Leave me alone until Sunday. No way. Not falling for it with him.
I'm surprised he didn't just bust out a Harry Carey impersonation. Well, here comes the Chicago Bear. Like I thought he go full heel right there, trying to bring us in. I see what you're saying, Greg.
Oh, bygones. Yeah. Oh, hey, when I got there, the Bears had the better record, but then when I left, we had the better record, and we still do. But I hope Bears fans can let that go. Be quiet. Leave us alone. All right.
I get. Remember in 2018 though, and it was beating Rodgers in Chicago in December. The back sack, the Eddie Jackson interception, which actually ended up being a bummer because he got hurt on it. But that part, like the thing that made 2018 so special was that you beat Aaron Rodgers at home, and I think that those are the kind of things. Like if you're sitting there, I know that there's, if we get to the playoffs and it doesn't matter whether we played Aaron Rodgers or not, but I think there's something about like if you're a competitor and you want to go out there, you want to shut him up. That makes me want to fight him even more. Like I'm not taking the bait, but I already don't like you, and now I still don't like you, and I don't like that you're trying to invoke the name of Michael Jordan into this. If he was really trying to heal it up, he would have brought up LeBron. That would have been the one.
Yeah, I agree. In an ideal world, in a perfect scenario, maybe this is how it goes. The only thing I will give you, I think you've made the best argument so far, is that the Bears guards will be up higher if they know they're playing Rodgers versus Mason Rudolph, who even you made the argument on Monday night on CHGO Bears After Dark that he might be throwing the football better than Rodgers right now, as crazy as that sounds. And it does sound crazy.
Not crazy.
But at the same time, then you might be lulled to sleep a little bit. You might sleepwalk into that game thinking, all right, Rodgers isn't there, and you take your foot off the gas. That's a good argument to me in terms of the mentality on how to enter this game. But outside of that, he concerns me. I'm sorry. And I think they're fully capable of beating them if he plays. I'm not saying I'm not waving the white flag. But I'm just, these people are like, they are acting like, oh, I want him no matter what, Corey Wooten
I
ain't
get
out
it.
there. He said, he unfortunately can't play. He'll be on our post-game show on Sunday.
I would say anytime it's a situation where you got like a Brock Osweiler starting, Snoop Huntley this year, like everybody thought like, oh, Snoop Huntley's playing. We got this in the bag. I think that there's a mentality shift that's just not going to be evident. So I kind of hope he plays. And you know what? We'll get a true test in a season where, we might not go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that we won't, but we might not. I just would like it if that is it. If that is the if that's the one thing, is this where the NFL films reel ends? Like, and then they beat Aaron Rodgers, and then nothing else happened for the rest of the season. So be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, we did sort of end that because we're still trading on ending Brett Favre, and that's always been a lot of fun. But it'll be interesting to see.
I actually don't think he's gonna play. This isn't just like a bias thing because I don't want him to play in a lot of ways. I actually don't think he's going to play. I think he's messing with us. Yeah. And I think as we get closer to Sunday, they're going to make the decision because they're still fighting for a division. That they're in the thick of a division race. They've got the rest of their season here. You've got a quarterback with a broken wrist, a broken bone in his wrist. And, if he falls and lands on it, or if a pass rusher, somehow, some way for the Bears actually gets to the quarterback, like that's going to be problematic for them. So I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze and how sentimental Mike Tomlin is going to be to Rodgers, affinity for playing the Bears versus them making the playoffs. So we'll see. I'm not certainly going to, take it off the table, but I still don't, just like with the Lamar Jackson thing heading into that game, everybody was like, oh, he's definitely going to play. And then he didn't. I think that we might run into a similar situation with this. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's definitely going to play.
And maybe Rodgers knows that he's not going to play and knows that if he doesn't play, he can still sit there and be like, you never beat me. You never beat me.
Whatever. He can say that. We did beat him. We beat him in 2018 to win the division. Remember how fond of it I was there with Phil Atoshin in the stands. It was a wonderful moment. I don't care. He can have that because I am focused on the future. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers anymore. It's annoying that he's still in the league, but he's in the AFC. I don't have to worry about him. I am thinking about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and this glorious future we have, and I want that to include a playoff appearance in Ben Johnson's first year as head coach. That is all I care about. I don't care about this sentimental, let's end the final time we play Rodgers, beat him crap. I don't care about that. I want to make the playoffs. I care about Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
If we lost to, would you rather beat Aaron Rodgers this week or Jordan Love at Lambeau again?
That's not even a debate.
Okay.
If you
I'm just testing you. I'm just testing you.
I'm just testing game.
All right. I just want to make sure.
I had a Bears fan tell me they'd rather beat Rodgers this week than get to the playoffs. Okay, that they'd rather have the Rodgers win than get to the playoffs and lose. You're crazy if you think that.
Wait, I say that?
No, it wasn't me, was it? It's speaking in generality. And if you'd rather beat Rodgers this week than beat the Packers in 2 weeks, you're also crazy. Yeah. I don't know what's going on here lately with the meatballs, but we got to figure this out. Too much. This is how he gets us because we get too obsessed about Rodgers. Quit thinking about him. Don't act like he doesn't exist.
We just had to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and not worry about who the quarterback is. All right, I'm with you. All right, there. It took us, and listen, it took us a couple of minutes to work it out. That's our official statement.
Got me fired up. This is why I want to skip the next 4 days, 3 days, whatever.
Shane, you can cut this. We don't care who the quarterback is. We just need to win the game. That's the most important thing. That's what we're focused on. Lucas has a question, and he asked, do you think the Bears defensive line can get some work done against the Steelers offensive line? I've heard they're pretty bad, but I haven't watched them a lot. I'm starting to see some pretty good individual performances from guys like Austin Booker has looked pretty good. Now we're starting to get Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon back. And if we could get Kyler Gordon back, I think that opens a whole host of possibilities for us, especially when trying to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. You've noticed it. I know we're talking about Rodgers, and Rodgers has scared us so much over the years that if you actually have watched a Steelers game critically this season, you're not overly impressed with their offensive line. So I think the Bears could get to them, even though they didn't get a sack last week. What's your take on that, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I think actually they're going to have a tough time getting sacks because of how quickly the Steelers get the ball out. I think they lead the league in percentage throws behind the line of scrimmage. So that means it's coming out fast. They're doing screen passes, little quick passes. They lead the league in the lowest percentage of downfield passes. So there's not really that many long developing plays in this offense. Who knows? Maybe you throw out the numbers on Sunday and it'll all be flipped. But no, I think especially with a broken bone in his wrist, if he does play on Sunday, their game plan is going to be get the ball out quickly. And then I'm hoping Dennis Allen understands that and now is, jamming at the line of scrimmage, playing his guys up, understanding that these plays are, going to come out quick. But I don't know. It's I think that it could play into the Bears' hands, but they got to be ready for it too.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, again, if you've seen the Steelers play this year, sorry, there we go. Hold on. Goodness gracious. Just, if you've seen the Steelers play, they're vulnerable offensively. They haven't been able to throw the ball down to the field. DK Metcalf has been very frustrated. Last week was a little bit different. They went up against the Bengals. Like that for everybody who knocks us, who are like, you guys aren't good because you only beat the Bengals. Like the Steelers are coming off a win over the Bengals. Like, so if there is something to that, they haven't been playing that great either over the last couple of weeks. By the way, who was it? Brian who was it who was just asking? I wanted to, I can, this is actually my wheelhouse here. Brian DeVree. Yeah, the WGN, if you lived in Southern California and you had cable, you were able to watch all the Cubs stuff, watch all the Chicago Superstation, that and WTBS. I didn't have it because we were poor. My dad was just a poor Navy guy. We weren't living on the base, so, we didn't get cable. But the neighbors had WGN, and so you'd be able to go. That's like growing up in Southern California, it was so hot during the summer and smoggy. We would have to go in and we'd go watch Ryan Sandberg and the Cubs every day as Harry Carey was serenading us. So Rodgers isn't lying. You would get that in California. He lived in Chico, which was equally so.
All across the country. I mean, that was the beauty of WGN. It's not like that anymore. But yeah, WGN used to be all over the country. And that's why when you go to away stadiums anywhere in the U.S., Cubs fans take over because of WGN. And so I was just lucky enough to live in the Chicagoland area. So I got to watch all the Cubs I wanted, all the Bulls content I wanted. I get to watch, pre, post game, midweek, every day, live and breathe, Michael Jordan, whatever they did, practice breakdowns. They were covering everything Michael was doing back then. So I got to be along for that ride as a kid.
Yeah. There was a cable box, Brian, that if you had the cable, you had WGN, TBS, here's Nickelodeon, something else. Like cable TV used to be 5 channels. It wasn't like the channels you see. MTV was one of them, and something else. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on. So that's what it was back in the day. It's different now, obviously, with all your streaming services that you Gen Alpha kids are so used to.
Now they're all like, what have we done?
What have you done? Like that cable was actually way better. You didn't know how good you had it. And we have to still watch commercials, which is ridiculous. But going into this game, what do the Bears need to do to be successful against the Steelers team this week? Obviously, Ben Johnson talked about it this week with the 2 guys on the outside, able to bring in pressure. Who do you think needs to step up this week for the Bears to be successful offensively?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same answer it's been since the bye week, and they've got to run the football. The Steelers have a formidable defense, and the only way to stymie that is to get physical with them and run that football with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai and limit your turnovers. This is going to be a war of attrition in terms of, the Bears don't give up too many sacks. The Bears don't turn the ball over very much, but that is something the Steelers are good at creating. They're good at creating pressure. They're good at creating turnovers. And so, I just think it would be, I think this is going to be a lot like the Vikings game on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're going up against a tough defense, and you're going to do whatever you can from a game plan standpoint to survive. So I think you'll see Ben Johnson implement a lot more of those condensed formations like you saw in Minnesota, a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. And you're going to see them running the football quite a bit. And hopefully Caleb's able to get the ball out of his hands quickly. I thought if you saw in the last game against the Vikings from the first half to the second half, I thought Caleb started to get a lot better at getting the ball out quick and just making that quick decision, throw it in the flat to, Cole Kmet or Colston Loveland and let them go and do the rest of the work. But yeah, as Tareen Whitfield in the chat says, keep it simple. And that is, I think, what you're going to want to see here this week against the Steelers. Run the football, build yourself a lead, and try to hold down the fort on the other end on the defensive side of the ball.
The Pittsburgh Steelers they're about middle of the pack in yards allowed, just under 1,000 rushing yards on the season. They have allowed 44 receptions to running backs out of the backfield, which is somewhere towards the bigger target. They've only allowed 1 receiving touchdown to a running back this season. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bears can get the ground game running against them. I do want to skip ahead, though, to some of the sound, though. One of the guys that people are looking at, still wanting to see if Luther Burden can break out. More and more, he's getting more involved in this offense. Ben Johnson talked about Luther Burden today. So, Shane, can we listen to that sound, please?
I think it's you get what you earn, and I think he's earned the increased snaps. It's something we evaluate each week. What does practice look like? How are these guys through the course of the week? Are they making plays or not? And he's steadily climbed. It's the route running detail that's showing up, the consistency and making sure his alignments are right, his assignments. He's doing a real good job with that, and it's a credit to the receiving room. The vets are showing him the way, and then Randall L. and Robbie Picasso, they do a great job meeting with him and making sure he knows what he has going on, and so he understands that. And as a young rookie, I think he's progressing nicely.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we're really enjoying is when somebody is playing well, they're going out there and getting more reps. What do we think? I think like one of these weeks, and not only Luther Burden III, but at the same time, Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland gets talked about a lot. And I know it's partly because I hang out with fantasy people way too much. But it feels like both of these guys are on the cusp of doing, I guess you could argue Colston Loveland's already done something great. But I think even taking a bigger role in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely saw it last week. I mean, 2 weeks ago against the Giants, the Bears had the most drops as a team that any team had all season in football. And Olamide Zaccheaus obviously was on the bad end of a few of those drops. And I know a lot of fans were calling for, hey, it's time for more Luther Burden. Well, Ben Johnson saw the exact same thing. And I think that's been one of the more refreshing things about Ben Johnson is when there's something obvious that needs to be fixed. In years past, Bears coaching staffs would just stare it in the face until it was their demise. And this coach acts and reacts to it and acts swiftly. And what he did last week against the Vikings, Olamide Zaccheaus snap count went down to 10, and Luther Burden got the lion's share of those snaps. Now, Luther did have a drop at one point. So, anybody can drop the football. The Bears as an entire offensive unit need to clean that up. That's not just an Olamide thing or a Luther thing. Everybody's had their hand in dropping the football. But Luther Burden's ability is top notch. I mean, he's probably the speediest guy on the team. You could argue he has some of the best hands on the team. You saw it at one point on a 20-yard dig route on the right side. Caleb threw it with really good anticipation. You're starting to see that chemistry between the two of them working, but Luther's very good about catching it with his hands and then making a play after the fact. I mean, even in that Giants game at the end where he caught the ball on a timing route where the ball came out before he was even turned, he makes the catch with his hands and then fights through two guys to get 10 more yards to get into scoring range. Caleb ends up finishing the job and getting the touchdown. So I think that kind of effort, along with what these guys are doing from a blocking standpoint, no block, no rock assignment, I think that's earned the trust of Ben Johnson about what he's trying to do. Now, the next step is, one thing that Olamide, the reason he was getting so many snaps early on, obviously Luther's a rookie and this guy's a vet, but Caleb was always very comfortable knowing where Olamide was going to be, sitting in the soft spots of zones. And so you're starting to see that connection take place with him and Luther, but you need to see more of that. But the only way you're going to get more of that is more reps. But I'm with you, Adam. I think there at any given moment, Luther Burden could have a huge breakout game because he is that type of player that can break away from guys, make guys miss. He's got great hands, great route runner. And so it's going to be exciting to see where this goes here moving forward. And, when you're playing a team like Steelers, got a guy like Jalen Ramsey, and a lot of the attention is going to go on Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Colston Loveland. You have an opportunity there. They just have so many weapons. I think there's an opportunity for Luther Burden to have a breakout game. It could very well happen this week.
It's funny, and Jeremy here in the chat says that Loveland has the best hands on the team. It's not close. Jeremy, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think that I feel the most confident when he's being targeted. And something that I brought up on CHGO the other night was that, the Bears they really haven't had a need to showcase Luther Burden and Colston Loveland that much right now. Like, you're getting by. We already have like one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL, and we haven't even started utilizing everything at our disposal. So that's one of the things that gives me the most hope. And again, whenever people are talking about, is this team, what's up? What is up with this team? Like, what do you mean? Like, they're putting a lot of points up on the board. They're a top 5 scoring team. They're top 5 in yardage. And we really haven't seen breakouts completely from Colston Loveland. We did have a great game for Colston Loveland against the Cincinnati Bengals. Luther Burden III was part of that flea flicker. That was amazing against the Cowboys. But at the same time, we're just starting to see how good this offense could be, which should be of great concern. And maybe this is why all those fans of opposing teams are so apt to knock us right now, because they see what we see and they know. They're like, yeah, the Bears are in first place, not playing their best football. What's it going to be like when, as Ben Johnson himself said, this team is going to start playing their best football in December? Yeah. What is that going to look like? That is the thing. And that's why, and it's funny too, like, and I see like these idiots who are like, oh, and your quarterback's not, I'm like, they say like, your quarterback's not good, which if you ever want to expose yourself as somebody who doesn't watch football, who doesn't understand football, just come right out and say Caleb Williams is not a good player. Like even the Commander fans have tucked tail and disappeared because they know it's a ludicrous argument. Even there's nobody else has come. Like, we've pretty much, I think for the majority of the world, we've all been like, yeah, Caleb's who we thought he was going to be. Like, it's going to get better. It's not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty good right now, to the point like the Steelers had to activate some acrobat, some Dick Grayson acrobat off their practice squad to go out there to mimic the moves that Caleb makes, because not many people in the world can do what he does. So it's getting better. It's going to be a work in progress. And I think that we can both say the offense is going to be good. The thing that should concern you more, though, however, is that we're starting to get guys like Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon turning to practice. Greg, you're out of the greater Chicagoland area. What's the latest on our defensive secondary?
Well, Kyler Gordon's 21-day window opened today. The Bears made that announcement earlier. Both were at practice and were limited. So you had about 5 or 6 guys that did not practice. And on Wednesdays, I think we're starting to get used to how Ben Johnson does his injury report week to week. And I think a lot of the times he uses these Wednesday practices as a rest day for a lot of guys. TJ Edwards has been dealing with a hamstring. And, and so I think that he didn't practice, but Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon were both on the practice field. Like there's video footage of them out there looking good, looking loose, looking like they're ready to go here. And now the question is, when will that be? And it does, if you're antsy and you want it as fast as possible, you want these guys out there because you want the Bears to be in their full form as fast as possible. I get it. I think I think where you meet, like, all right, if you wanted to be safest, you'd wait till Green Bay. And the argument you'd make is, well, hey, look at what this secondary and this defense has done without Jalen and Kyler. You've got, Nashawn Wright, who has 4 interceptions on the year. He's tied with Tremaine Edmonds for second, and first in the league in interceptions is Kevin Byard. So maybe they can stave off enough time and make do with what they have, because they have been creating turnovers without those guys. But maybe if you want to meet in the middle and you say this week's a little too early, maybe that Eagles game is that perfect landing spot for Jalen Johnson and maybe Kyler Gordon to come back, because now you've got that extended rest. You get one game under your belt, and then you have that extended rest leading up to the Green Bay game. So it'll be interesting. But I have been saying over the last few days, and this is purely a gut instinct based off of kind of how I've seen him coming back through the little bit of content we get from Jalen Johnson. I have a feeling Jalen Johnson's going to play on Sunday. It's, like I said, it's just a gut feeling, but he practiced last Friday. They pulled his 21-day window last week. They didn't have to do that. And so that shows you how close he's getting. Now he's back on the practice field this week. You've got guys that he trains with behind the scenes, showing, him working out with the caption that reads, "He's ready." Okay. Yeah. All right. If he's ready, let's put him out there. If Rodgers wants to play on Sunday, maybe Jalen Johnson's like, all right, maybe I will too.
Yeah, I can see that. But again, going back to the point about like being most concerned with the bigger picture, I truly believe that even if they're ready to go this week, because it's a short turnaround for a Black Friday game, I would rather just, if they're going to play at all, save it for the Eagles game, because then you get a little bit. I know it's not a true mini bye, but you do get a couple of extra days off before you come back to football. And for me, I don't want to be in a position where we're rushing these guys back when it's completely unnecessary. I mean, this is, as Greg Braggs would say, a must-win game. Yes. As they all, like, every game's a must-win game, but they really need to win this game, because when you look at the opportunities, when we get to 8 wins, God, and then it's like, you know what? Where are the other 2 wins coming from? That's all we have to decipher. That's all we have to pick from. And for me, and there's still some real good opportunities. I know that everybody are talking about, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, where you're talking about Cleveland. I think the 49ers game is a bigger opportunity than people will give us credit for. Even one of the Green Bay games, even the next Detroit game, we saw Jared Goff going outdoors. The whole outdoor cat showed back up this week. Oh, Jared Goff looked like an outdoor cat against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. We thought it was a thing of the past, but it clearly is not. It is going to be something that's going to continue to stick with him. So again, there are other opportunities, but if you get to 8 wins, it opens up things so much. But we want to be playing our best football in December, as Ben Johnson said. And I think for sure you got to hold off Kyler Gordon. Maybe Jalen Johnson, but I would love to see one more week and having him come back in and playing in that Black Friday game. By the way, let me ask you something. I don't know if this is a thing where you're from, but I know out here in California, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving is always a huge event.
Yep.
Always a great going out. I don't know if this is a nationwide thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like, you know what, if we're going to have a game on Black Friday, and I think I've seen some people refer to it as Blackout Wednesday needs a game. I think Blackout Wednesday needs a game, and whatever team, whoever was on a bye last week, who was it, the Saints and whoever was on a bye last week should then play Blackout Wednesday. And then we have Blackout Wednesday game, 3 Thursday games, and then a Black Friday football game. Now that is the perfect schedule for the Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I mean, put the two worst teams on Blackout Wednesday as punishment.
There it is, yeah.
Like, I
Jags, Titans.
Yeah.
You know what? Put the Jags and Titans on the bye the week before Thanksgiving, and then they get to play the Blackout Thursday. Just like the Cowboys and Lions always get that game. I think it should be the Jags against one of their AFC South opponents every year. Just give them Blackout Wednesday as their thing.
Blackout Wednesdays at the bars is a young man's game. I retired from that. I hung my jersey in the rafters a long time ago. But yes, that's definitely a thing. I would say that they do, have college basketball on Blackout Wednesday. I think there is a college football game as well. So, we love the NFL. They don't have to dominate every day of the schedule.
They do.
They do. They do.
That's exactly what we need to do. That's exactly.
I love that the Bears are on Black Friday, though, just from a spectator standpoint, as for what we do. Like, doing the games when the Bears play on Sunday, I don't get to watch the rest of the NFL. So 3 games on Thursday, the rest of the slate on Sunday. You got the Bears on, on Friday and Saturday of next week is a very special person in your life's birthday. So there you go.
Is it mine?
No, it's
is
mine.
It me?
Nope,
oh, it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What day is your birthday?
The day after the Bears go 9-3.
It's December. It's November.
November 29th.
November 29th. All right.
Yeah.
So we both have fall birthdays. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's exciting because, I don't know. I mean, I guess next Wednesday we'll still be doing this, right? We'll still have one here next Wednesday, right?
Where the F do you think you're going to be?
I don't know. You're the one hyping up Blackout Wednesday. Maybe you had plans. I don't know.
I'm going to, because I will do the after hour with Jim Rome, and then I will do this show. I think actually next Wednesday, I'm going to crack a beer during this show.
Do a Blackout.
I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to get blacked out. I'm not going to get blacked out. I'm going to have one beer. I'm going to go to Desert Brew Company and have a beer. Speaking of which, I don't know where everybody's going to be watching the games this weekend. Obviously, Soldier Field is sold out like it typically is. But if you're looking for a place to watch the game with Chicago Bear fans, might I recommend Twisted Shamrock. Mm-hmm. It is, if you're a real Chicago sports fan, like the Bears, Bulls, Hawks, Cubs, Sox, you need to be watching the games at Twisted Shamrock. They've got monster TVs in their private party room, main bar, and outside on their stellar patio. Swing by Twisted Shamrock, where Chicago sports come together. And as a reminder, I will be there on December 13th, 3 days after my birthday. And we'll be going out there on Saturday night. The next day, we'll be going to the Chicago Bears game against the Cleveland Browns, where hopefully we will sew up the division. I don't even know if that's possible at that moment. But then I got to immediately run to Midway Airport. One of my colleagues was talking to me, and they're like, "Why don't you stay the night in Chicago if you're going out there?" And I'm like, first of all, that's always a bad idea, because staying the night in Chicago means that I will go to Twisted Shamrock after the game, and who knows what kind of shape I will be in to fly back. I always it sucks. I know you did this. Like when you went to the Vegas game, you stayed for 3 weeks. Last year in Arizona, you stayed for 30 days as well. I'm getting out of town. I'm like, all right, we'll see you guys later. I'm gonna party at the airport. That's where I'll do my celebration drinks. Rob. Oh wait, Rod wants to come in here. Rod's got a super chat. Hold on, bring it up. It has been 40 years since the Bears won a Super Bowl. Do you think the Bears will win one this time? My birthday is the 29th too. Hey, Ron. So that's who Greg was talking about. He was saying that it was your birthday.
The special person in your life, Ron Winarski.
That was it. Ron Winarski.
Yeah, I was born November 29th, 1985. The first game of my life, the first Bears game in my lifetime was Bears Dolphins in the 1985 season.
Oh, you effed it up. It was you. Your presence gooched us from a perfect season. And oh God. And they figured it out too. That was the worst part about that game. This is, again, my dad always tell me, they figured it out too late. they would have played that over and whatever. But it is what it is. And I know that the Bears wanted the Dolphins in that Super Bowl. What if, too, like, if you think about the New England Patriots, like, you had to wear that. Like, you're the team that got steamrolled in Super Bowl 20, but then you went on to win 6 Super Bowls. So I think you're okay. Like, yeah.
It is wild to watch that 1985 Super Bowl and be like, how did they beat the Dolphins?
Oh, God. Well, you know what? The Dolphins of that time were bottlers. As great as Dan Marino was, he was a bottler. And actually, Dan Marino had more comeback victories than John Elway back in the day. But still, like, they would go into the playoffs and just choke every year. Like, there was one time they got beat like 63-0 or something crazy like that. They always just found a way to win. But by the way, Ron, thanks again for the super chat. We will celebrate your birthday in style. And I hope that the folks over at the Twisted Shamrock will help us out. If you can make it out to there, I will buy you a drink. Actually, I'll be buying drinks at Twisted Shamrock just because, want to thank everybody for coming out and doing all that stuff. We're going to do a cool little show, meet and greet, see what's going on, and have people test the old fashioned, see if it lives up to my claim. I've said it's the best old fashioned I've ever had, but we'll let other people decide, see what they say. In any event, that's gonna do it for us here tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here. I truly appreciate it. And regardless of whether Aaron Rodgers plays this weekend or not, I think it's a great opportunity for the Bears to go out there. This is, I don't know about you, Greg, but like, I've now come to the point in my life where I expect the Bears to win. I know that we talk about must-win games, got to do this. Like, I walk into some Sundays hopeful. I'm now expecting it. I expect the Bears to win. Is that too much? Am I above myself?
I think we have just been opposites for almost a calendar year now. And I've tried to stay down on my hype, not get over ahead of myself all off season. I stayed even keeled, didn't try to oversell what was going to happen this year, tried to keep a level head at the start of the year. Now we're 7-3, and I understand we've got to start to transition to playoff hopefuls, but I just feel like you and so many others are skipping steps now because they've found their way to say you're skipping steps. Nope. I do not expect them to win any game. I am still in the terrified, excited stage of my fandom, looking forward to Sunday. I have now transitioned from last year where I dreaded every Sunday to now I look forward to every Sunday.
Trying to fast forward to it, yes.
But I'm still, it's like a dread and excitement mixture because I don't know if they're going to win or lose. You sitting here saying, I expect them to win is crazy. Yeah. And that I think is more suited for next year. Like they are still in this phase of they could win, they could lose. We're probably going to lose 3 years of our life every game. But then next year, once they bolster this team up again this offseason, and we're in year 2 of Ben Johnson, now it's time to expect things. I don't think there's any expecting of anything right now other than to expect to lose 2 years on your life when the game is over.
You know what? I need you to change the mentality. I think this is one of those things where you're still spending too much time at the driving range. It's time to get out on the course, Greg. Don't take off the training wheels. You've hit enough golf balls. You've got the muscle memory now. Now it is time to get your mentality right to go out there and actually go and hit balls that actually count. You are the kid that's afraid to play Madden against real people. You'd rather sit in your dorm room and play against the computer.
No.
Now is the time.
If you're going to try to play to my heartstrings and give me the golf analogy, this is like when you're starting to get better at golf, but you know that you just used the 7-iron from 160 out and put it on the green, but you didn't actually aim it where you wanted to. It got where you needed it, but it wasn't like you meant to do it. And so now we need repetition. It's like, okay, you had a good shot, but it wasn't like you really, like it was luck, and this is the thing. We've won 5 games at the last minute, Adam.
Yeah.
2 minutes to go. Those games could have gone either way. And if they had, you would not be expecting anything here this Sunday. So
You're
I
right.
need you to calm down.
100%. No, they did go our way. I'm draining my putts. I now expect to make these putts. That's the mentality that I'm at. That's where you should be. Join me up here, because either way you're going to be disappointed. So you might as well join me. So
No,
come aboard.
Well, maybe we won't be disappointed.
Don't be this way. Don't be this way. Don't be afraid to be great. I tell this to my girls, and I tell this to the boys.
I'll say this much. Before the season started, I said 9 wins. But now that they're 7-3, it has to be 10 wins. If they finish 2-5, that's not good enough. It's got to be 10 wins at this point. If they win this next game, then if they win on Sunday, then I have to say playoffs are bust. Before the season started, I was never in my wildest dreams going to say at any point that it was playoffs or bust. But if you get to 8-3, you're leading the division at the end of November, 1 month ago, then the expectations completely change, which is terrifying.
Yeah. All right. I say they got to win 14 games. That's where it needs to be. Kerry Franklin said, I predicted 11-6, 27-20 Bears. Somebody asked how many times did Tom Brady win in the final 2 minutes? You know when he did? Super Bowl 34. I don't know what else. I'm sure there were other games where he did it too, but I do know in Super Bowl 34 he did it, which was his second year. Just saying. But listen, everybody go out there and enjoy it. Have a good time. Don't be like Greg. Don't be afraid. You don't need to ask permission to go out there and be great. Just go out and take it. Greg, I appreciate you being here as always. Looking forward to chopping it up with you one more time. We'll be back on Monday, the two of us, for CHGO After Dark, and then take it to the rank the following Wednesday. For Blackout Wednesday, I will have a drink during that show.
Let's go.
I'll
join you.
All right. I love to hear that. In any event, everybody, enjoy the games this weekend. Bear down. And Shane, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.